Okay, so I just got done watching the season finale of The Penguin. Here are my thoughts on the entire show. So, for those who don't know, I'm actually not the biggest fan of the Batman. I think it's pretty decent. It's kind of overrated, and people glaze it all the time, and it kind of just pisses me off. So, I don't really like the Batman that much. It's not my favorite Batman movie. So, going into the Penguin, I was kind of just I didn't have my expectations that high because I just knew everyone was going to glaze the fuck out of this show, and I was expecting it to be mid, but I really enjoyed it. Episode one was great. We see the aftermath of the Batman and like how Riddler's bombs across all of Gotham have affected the people, especially the poorer side of Gotham. We get to see the poor side of Gotham in this show a lot instead of like the rich side where everyone's in high like skyscrapers and buildings everywhere. We see a different part of Gotham, and I gotta say the city vibe isn't the exact same as the movie from the Batman. In the Batman, it felt like a very fantastical place you can't really visit, but in this show, it kind of just feels like a poor side of New York. And the TV show budget is also kind of affecting the show as well. Obviously, The Batman was a very expensive movie, so going into a TV show, there's going to be a lot of differences. The cinematography is a lot less, I guess, I don't know, cool. Obviously, the camera work and cinematography is going to be a lot different because this is different directors. This is a TV show budget. It's going to look different. Regardless, I thought it was really well done. The Batman, Robert Pattinson, does not make a cameo. I'm so happy he didn't. I didn't want them to like nostalgia bait or like bait the fans into watching the show because a lot of people are watching the show just for the hints to Batman. We see his bat signal once. Now, even though I'm glad he's not in the show, it is kind of weird how he kind of just ignores what's going on, or he has like no knowledge of what's going on in Gotham. Like in the first episode, at the opening of the first episode, Falcone's son gets killed, and I feel like Batman would kind of be aware of that, and he'd go to the crime scene trying to figure out who killed him. And even later on in the show, where Oz Cobb, that's right, Oz Cobb, not Cobblepot, it's too goofy, I guess, is growing the drug empire in Gotham. Like, Batman's just not there. We don't know where the fuck he is. They didn't even say, like, he's busy or anything. Maybe he's just resting after the first movie. But in my mind, this is kind of like the Breaking Bad or the Better Call Saul of the DC universe. I probably could have used a better example, but in my mind, this is kind of just like Breaking Bad. It's about the drug empire in Gotham. We see them, like, making drugs, and they show the eye drops that were in the Batman and stuff. The villain of the show, the main villain, Sophia, aka the half sister of Catwoman and the daughter of Falcone. I really like Sophia's character. She did get kind of cringy towards the end, especially when she's like drinking wine, like gargling it and swirling it around in her mouth, and she just, I don't know, she tried to kind of be like Harley Quinn, but not too much. It was just kind of a weird performance towards the end of the show, but we see her backstory and stuff, and I thought it was really fucked up and really cool. Clancy Brown is in the show, aka Mr. Krabs, which I thought was really cool. It's always nice seeing him in like shows and stuff. He plays Salvatore Maroni, and I actually have no idea who the fuck that is. I heard his name like said 1,000 times in the first Batman movie, so I don't know who he is. He definitely wasn't in the Batman, but he's in it, and he does a lot of fight scenes, which I was really impressed with. Because whenever you see old actors that like you remember from your childhood, it's kind of sad seeing them, being old and stuff, and they're not in their peak anymore. But he was doing some really nice fight scenes, and he was extremely menacing at some moments and stuff. The Penguin, we see a lot more of his character. Obviously, this is his show. We see him, kind of mentor a young kid named, I think it was Victor. And when I first saw him, I was like, this seems a lot like Jason Todd because his introduction to the show is he's stealing rims of cars or tires of cars off the Penguin's car. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how Jason Todd was introduced in the comics. Like that was his main thing. He'd steal tires of cars. And, he was kind of a criminal in the comics as well. And then until Batman took him under his wing. So I was like, why isn't this Jason Todd? This would have been so cool to like have an introduction to him in the Penguin show. And, even throughout the show, they grow to like each other, Penguin and Vic. And we see a soft side to Penguin. We see why he is the way he is. We see his childhood. He was a mama's boy. He was a little shit. He killed his brothers. And, we see him cry to his mum. He's like, Ma, 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 ma. And it kind of makes you realize that he's really lonely, and Vic's like his only friend. I'm like, this is kind of cool. I'm not sure how I feel about this. We're meant to be like intimidated by the Penguin, or we're meant to see him as the bad guy. We're not really intimidated by him. He's a pretty funny guy, but still, he's meant to be the bad guy. So I'm like, wow, this is kind of weird. He's taking this kid under his wing, and he's not killing him. He spares his life, and then at the end of the show, he kills Vic. And I was just like, oh my god, that really, really made me sad. But, he's the Penguin. He's the bad guy. He's not the good guy of the show. He's as bad as the villain. She does not die, Sophia. She gets taken to jail and she gets the letter from Catwoman and shit. And by the end of the show, Penguin kind of wins. He gets everything he wants. He, puts his mum at the highest tower in Gotham in a penthouse, and she cries. She's basically a vegetable by the end of the show because she does have dementia, and she's not all there half the time. And it is kind of sad. It's very sad watching that happen. But Penguin does win. He gets his so-called happy ending in his mind. He's happy. I can't really think of that many negatives. The runtime was very long. An hour every episode was kind of annoying to sit through, but it's Penguin. It's pretty cool. There was a couple timeline issues that I found. They said Falcone dies in 2022, even though the Batman is meant to be set in 2019 last time I checked, because October 31st, Thursday, is in 2019, I'm pretty sure. So I don't know if that's just the continuity error, but anyway, I don't really care that much. I don't really care about this stupid timeline of this DC universe. Anyway, thank you for watching my review of The Penguin. I enjoyed it very much. If you want to go watch The Penguin yourself, go watch it. Peace.